My next door neighbor used to think I was a drug dealer until she found out I was actually selling on Amazon UK. My neighbor always thought that selling on Amazon FBA doesn't work until I showed her how much I was selling on Amazon, as well as my conversations with people like Sandy, an ordinary person who started as a complete beginner from zero experience, who went to £10,000 per month with her own brand of products selling on Amazon UK, even though she had no idea what to sell yet. The exact same thing happened with a few friends and family too. See, it's easy to doubt when you know nothing about the business of selling on Amazon. Since the industry has been so flooded with scammers, I feel like I'm one of the only Amazon FBA coaches left who has their own success stories as well as other clients. So if you want to start selling on Amazon, before you think about branding, logos, marketing, supplies, or anything like that, you need to find a profitable product to sell on Amazon FBA, because nothing else will matter. If your product isn't something that people will want to buy from you, then the branding, marketing, logos, and everything else are completely pointless. If you want to find a product to sell on Amazon that is of a combination of 3 factors, that is the only way to make sure you're going to make money. So first, your product needs to be well made. Second, your product needs to be in demand by Amazon UK customers. Thirdly, your product needs to make sure it doesn't have a ton of competition. This is the diagram of where you want to be. If you can find a legitimately good product to sell on Amazon, as per this diagram, then selling on Amazon will be 1,000 times easier for you. If you want my free guide on how to get started selling on Amazon UK for beginners and find a product to take you from zero to £10,000 per month selling on Amazon FBA, then click this link below and I'll send you over my complete free guide to that process now. So it's very easy to get carried away with looking for this product and trying to reinvent the wheel and invent a new light bulb. But it's really important to know that invention is very, very risky. Right? Instead of doing that, it's much better to mimic and maybe even modify the kinds of products that are already selling well on Amazon. That will make you much more money more quickly with a much higher likelihood of success. So first, ensure the product isn't too competitive. That's because of reduced costs, as you won't be competing with big brands who can easily undercut you and have large advertising budgets. For example, Nike will have a much bigger budget to sell shoes, and you'll struggle to compete against GoPro selling action cameras. Look for spaces in the market where there aren't enormous players. Secondly, look for high search volumes. This is because a lot of people are searching for a product which will suggest a high level of demand, right? The third thing is look for small and light products, ideally less than 1.3 kilos or less than 4 pounds. This is because you'll incur less shipping and storage costs as well as lower Amazon FBA fees. Fourth, your products should be sold at a price between £15 and £35. This is because it will protect your volumes of profits, and research shows that most products sold on Amazon tend to be priced £35 and below. So if you look at your own purchases on Amazon history, you should probably see the exact same thing. Now, fifth and finally, the profit margin of the product should be 35% or more to be sufficiently profitable to create a business on Amazon. Right? Now, that brings us to the question then, how do you find a profitable product to start selling on Amazon UK? You're going to use a tool called Helium 10. Let's jump over to Helium 10 now. Helium 10 is a software which can be used to conduct product research to find a really good product to start selling on Amazon UK, right? It helps you optimize your listings as well, and it's super important and extremely helpful to being successful at selling on Amazon. So you can do all of this without Helium 10, but the learning curve is much, much steeper. So if you do want to really cut down that learning curve, then Helium 10 is the way to go about doing that. Now, I have a few videos on how to do this without using any product research tools at all. So I have just had those pop up in a card below. So definitely click those if you want to learn how to do some product research without using any tools at all. I've used this exact tool to help me find my first 6-figure product, and it's helped me grow my business past £1 million per year. Now, with this, I'm personally able to guarantee to help my clients get to £10,000 per month selling on Amazon. So this has been a really powerful tool in my business. So it can help you even more. You know, since Helium 10 was so much more basic when I first started using it. Now, I'm going to show you step by step how to conduct product research using Helium 10. Now, if you don't already have Helium 10, click on the link below and you can use my discount code to get 20% off. So I'll put this link in the description as well as pinned to the top of the comments as well. So once you are on Helium 10, what you're going to do is log in, which is exactly what I am doing here. And once you have logged in, it will take a little second. Here we are logged in. What we're going to do is we are going to go to close this pop-up. We are going to go to tools. We're going to go to black box. And once we're at black box, we are going to click advanced, right? We're just going to skip over that simple search criteria. Now, the very first thing to do is change the marketplace to the home marketplace that you're going to be researching from, right? Now, I assume for most of you, this is going to be Amazon UK, right? So we're going to click amazon.co.uk. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to choose the categories and subcategories that we are going to be searching for, right? So what we're going to do is click this drop down arrow here.
and we are going to choose a particular set of categories, right? Now, it's really important that you stick to these categories, and you can branch out a little bit, so you can add in a few subcategories or categories to this, or you can even remove a few. But these are the ones that I would recommend that you start searching through, right? So that is automotive, DIY and tools, garden, home and kitchen, lighting, sports and outdoors, stationery, and office supplies, right? Those are the 7 that I recommend you looking within, right? Now, not to say there aren't product opportunities outside of those 7 subcategories, sorry, those 7 product subcategories, sorry, outside of those 7 categories, they're not subcategories, those are 7 product categories. So not to say there aren't opportunities outside of those 7 categories, but a lot of those opportunities will be a little bit more complicated or dominated by bigger brands, right? So what we're going to do is first select automotive, then the next one is going to be DIY and tools, then it's going to be garden, then is going to be home and kitchen, lighting, sports and outdoors, stationery, and office supplies, right? So that's going to be 7 categories in total. Now let's review count. Now, this search that we're doing today is going to be a little bit more aggressive, and it's going to find us some slightly more successful products, but a fewer of them, right? So this is going to be a search which is going to have smaller number of results, but those results are going to be better and more useful, right? So for this occasion, we're going to use the review count maximum of 250, right? We don't want to see any products that have more than 250 reviews. Now, when it comes to shipping size, you want to tick everything except large oversize and standard oversize, right? So you're going to tick small oversize, small letter, small envelope, large envelope, standard parcel. You're going to skip over standard oversize, as I say, extra large envelope, small parcel, right? And just double check again, large oversize and standard oversize are unticked, right? Now, the maximum weight in pounds that you want to be choosing is, I would say, £4, right? That is a good place to start, is putting £4 as your max. Now, the fulfillment method, it's really important to make sure you're looking at FBA and FBM, right? Make sure you do not tick Amazon, because then you're going to be competing with Amazon themselves, which is never a good idea. So make sure you're just ticking FBA and FBM here, right? Now, number of images, this kind of stuff you can actually leave blank. The number of sellers, the minimum you want to put is 1. The maximum is 2, right? You can put actually between 1 and 1 or 1 and 2. Now, just to make this a little bit wider, we're going to put 2, right? Just to make sure that we are not missing anything and that our filters are not too stringent. Now, when it comes to brands, we're going to leave all of these empty. None of this is anything we need to actually fill out. The price of minimum, we want to choose 12. And the price maximum, we want to choose 40. Right? So that gives us quite a wide range. Again, to make sure we don't want to miss anything, right? So I've just noticed, again, using my scroll wheel, I've accidentally changed the number of sellers to 1 and 1. We're going to change that to 1 and 2, right? So I've just changed that to 2 there. Now, one question I do get asked a lot is, what is the difference between parent level revenue and ASIN revenue? So parent level revenue is the amount of revenue that a product makes overall, including all of its variations, right? So this t-shirt sells, whatever, 1,000 units a month, right? That doesn't tell us whether it's, 250 of them are black and 250 are blue and 250 are red or whatever, right? That doesn't tell us anything. That just tells us this t-shirt in all of its colors sells 1,000 units a month, for example, right? So the parent level is just the product itself. Now, the ASIN revenue, that is per variation. So, for example, your parent level revenue could be, let's say, 10,000 per month. But your ASIN level revenue, each ASIN is going to be, let's say, 3,000 and 3,000, and one is 2,500 and another one is 500, as an example, right? So, your parent level revenue is made by the ASIN revenue, right? So the ASIN revenue is always going to be a smaller number than the parent level revenue. So it's really important to note that you want to put here in the minimum parent level revenue, not ASIN level revenue, but parent level is 8,000, right? Now, the rest of this, you can actually leave blank. And now what you're going to do is click search. Now, as I say, if you don't want to be scribbling away notes, just click on the link below and I'll send you all of the notes for this process. You don't actually have to memorize it. You can actually download them and look at them all completely with all of the details in them. And you don't have to make them yourself, and they're completely free. So it's definitely worth having a click on that link and getting those notes. Now, let's have a look at some of these results that have shown up here. So what we can see here is there are a few interesting ideas. Here's a kind of a mosaic soda light, which seems cool. It's got one seller. It's been listing. This listing's been around for 2 years and 2 months, so not a long time, but not no time at all. And it's doing actually £8,300 per month, right? This product. Now, what is important to note is that this particular variation is only doing £500 per month, right? So this listing overall is doing quite a lot. It's doing £8,300 per month, but this particular variation is not doing very well at all, right? It's only £500 per month, which you want to be avoiding. So just to clarify that for you, if I open this up, what you can see is this listing overall, when it does open, is doing £8,000 per month in revenue. But this particular variation, oval blue, with in one piece, is doing just £500 per month, right? But overall, this listing, including all of its variations, is actually doing relatively well. But it is important to note these details. Now, as we keep going through, we're going to see some interesting products. Again, some of these, I think this one is quite interesting. The adjustable magnetic fly screen for doors and windows. Sorry, let me just move my screen here. So that actually looks quite interesting. It looks like quite a summer-friendly product. Here we've got a water container. Again, same mosaic lights, I believe, from this listing. So this is quite a good listing. It does have a lot of variations. That's just something to be aware of. So definitely one thing for you guys to consider is when you're looking at these results, there will be some results where the parent level is doing quite a lot of revenue. So the parent level revenue is quite good, but the ASIN level revenue is not. So you want to just be aware of that and making sure that you are looking at the ASIN level revenue as well, right? Not to just say that if it's a low revenue, it's not good. It's worth looking at some of the higher ranking variations, right? So this is a good example. This Yeti Rambler cup, vacuum insulated, stainless steel, stackable mag slider lid. It's a good example of a product that's doing pretty well, right? Now, this is quite competitive. So, I'm not sure if I would necessarily recommend particularly, travel mugs or insulated cups like this. Not unless they're unique and a bit different to everything else that's on the market, right? So keep scrolling through these results. Again, just because it is coming up as a result in relation to the inputs that we put into the filter here, it doesn't necessarily make it a good product to sell, right? So you do need to actually scroll through some of these products and have a look at a few good examples of some things that could be actually worth selling on Amazon, right? Now, as you can see here, there are 8 pages as well. So, there is still a lot to go through. So don't be worried if, the very first few results aren't the ones that are going to be winners for you, right? Keep looking through because there is certainly going to be a winner. So I'm going to keep scrolling through here and we will come up with a good idea for an example for you guys. So here we have a pretty good example. It is a comfort grip handheld mandolin slicer, right? So it's an adjustable fruit and vegetable slicer. That actually looks pretty useful. It's a sort of thing that I guess I would use to help me stop chopping my fingers off when I try and slice things in the kitchen, if I ever did stuff like that. So as I open this up, as you can see, by the way, before we even open it up, you can see it's doing £15,000 per month on Amazon, right? Which is pretty good. And it only has a review count is sort of actually, sorry, here. It only has 92 reviews, right? Which is not a lot at all. So to be doing £15,000 per month in sales with just 92 reviews, that is a pretty good looking product. Now, this is not a big brand, something that people have heard of a lot. So this is quite a nice product idea. Again, this graph looks like it's jumping up and down, but actually it's not. This is quite a relatively stable graph. It is showing that you get good sales, most of the year round. So, as we look around as well, we can see, if you look at these other related products to this item, this is a really important thing to see whether a product is competitive or not, and, whether it's a good idea to start pursuing. So let's have a quick look at this product itself, right? And if we look quickly at the design of this product and look at the other options available, there aren't a lot, right? This one looks like it's the most similar, but even then it's not the same, right? It's a little bit different. It's got legs, and this one has, a handle so you can lean it. It makes it easier to use. So, there's one here that looks, again, the same as this, but again, there aren't many that look the same at all, right? So this is a pretty good product to start selling, right? This product does really, really well. And so this would be a good idea of a product to actually consider selling, right? So how are we now going to find a supplier or a manufacturer for this product to start selling on Amazon, right? Now, the first thing to realize, by the way, I've just noticed this, is that this is selling for $15.99, right? RRP, it normally sells for $15.99. Right now, it's $9.99, so it's on offer. Now, I do believe $15.99 is a relatively normal price to expect to sell for this kind of product, right? Even it says here, non-deal price is $15.99. So that is the price that we are looking to gauge against, right? That is the price that we're looking to be able to sell at, is something about $15.99 or so. So how are we going to find a supplier or a manufacturer for this particular product, right? That is very, very simple. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Alibaba.com, right? Now, you can easily find this by just Googling Alibaba, right? And just open up Alibaba.com. Now, once you're on Alibaba.com, what you're going to do is click this camera right here. And then you're going to go back to the product that you are looking for a supplier for. And you're going to take this image and you're going to drag and drop it into the Alibaba search bar, the reverse image search bar. And what you're going to do is you're going to be able to see now a load of suppliers who are ready to supply this product for you, right? So you don't even have to look for them. It finds them for you. Now, you want to make sure that these suppliers have been in business for a minimum of 3, if not 4 years, right? So this does look like the cheapest supplier. Now, to be fair, it might be worth talking to them. They've only been in business for 1 year and they're not a verified supplier, which means I wouldn't say they're the ideal supplier to work with, but, if they're very, very cheap, then it may be worth the risk, but I don't know. I would rather just work with a verified supplier who's been at least in business for 3 years, right? So look through these results and find a supplier who is not just the right age, but has the right price and also has good communication skills, right? So start contacting some of these suppliers and, you should find the right one out there somewhere, right? Now, let's say, for example, here is a decent supplier, right? This isn't a verified supplier. This is a verified supplier. All of the verified suppliers are a little bit more expensive, but here you go. Here's a verified supplier of 10 years at $2.59 to $2.89, right? So let's say that with shipping, this might cost, as an example, let's say for 100 pieces or 250 pieces, let's say, for example, this is going to cost you, rough maths, let's say each product is going to cost you £1.50 in shipping on average, right? So if you convert this back to pounds and then add on £1.50, so what we're going to do is do USD to GBP, and we're going to put 2.89, so that's £2.14. So £2.14 plus £1.50, that is going to be £3.64. £3.64, right? So £3.64 will probably be your average cost price, right? Let's in fact round that up to £3.70, right? So this is going to cost you roughly £3.70 landed to you, right? So with that, by the way, we've included tax in there. That's why we're rounding up. Your tax, especially on your lower shipments, shouldn't be too much. Especially, in the beginning, there aren't too many taxes to begin with. And as you become VAT registered, you'll also be able to actually reclaim all of the VAT that you're paying on imports as well. So for that reason, what we're going to do is, as I say, round that number up to roughly £3.70, right? So what we're going to do is take that number of £3.70 as your cost price, and we're going to put it into the UK FBA calculator. Right now, you're going to go to the UK FBA calculator. That's literally what you're going to Google, UK FBA calculator, and then you are going to click on this result here. So the seller central.amazon.co.uk result, you're going to continue as guest, and you're going to search catalog. And once you hit, what you're going to do is take your example ASIN, and you are going to copy it, and you're going to paste it into this search Amazon catalog section, right, where it says search for product on Amazon, and you're going to click search. And here you are going to be told the breakdown on the cost of fulfillment, right? So this is how much it would cost to fulfill this product and all of the costs involved on Amazon side if you're selling this for $15.99, right? Now, what we're going to do here is we are going to input a cost of goods sold as £3.70, right? Now, because you are not going to be VAT registered, you are not going to be paying VAT. Right? So means when you sell your product, you don't have to charge VAT, which means that you can actually put that as 0, right? Now, what that means is if you're selling this product for $15.99, if your final selling price or your final cost of goods, is £3.70, which is what we roughly expect, then you can actually be making a profit margin of 37.74% or £6.03, right? So what that literally means is you can spend £3.70, get back your £3.70 plus £6.03 on top of that, right? That is very good profit. That means you are more than doubling your money, right? So in fact, I think you're tripling your money there. So this is a really good product to be selling, right? Especially at this price. So it means you can afford to have your cost of goods even higher. So let's say £4, right? So even if it was £3.70, but you're spending, let's say, an average of, let's say, £2 per unit on ads, it means you still have a decent profit margin left over. You're still more than doubling your money, right? You're putting £3.70 in, you're getting that back, and then a further £4.03 on top of that, right? So that is a good profit margin to be making for this investment. So over time as well, what you're going to find is your cost of goods is going to reduce and your cost of ads is also going to reduce, right? So as you can see here, the more products that you buy, the lower your cost of goods per unit will be. Also, the lower your cost of goods will be in terms of shipping, right? So the rule of thumb is that the higher the volume that you ship, the cheaper the price per unit tends to be. So for that reason, what you're going to find is that over time, let's say this goes down to, let's say, £3.20, and this goes down to, let's say, £1, you're still going to have very good profit margin, right? You're going to be more than doubling your money. So yeah, this is a very good product to start selling. So yeah, excellent example here. So with that, a quick word of advice on this, and what I do myself here, even though we've done a lot of research on this, is if you're doing private label, whatever you sell, make sure to buy a really small amount first to avoid losing money if it doesn't go well, right? You won't make money selling that first batch of items because that's not the point, right? You want to make sure that they sell before buying bigger volumes. So if you can't sell 20 units, how in the hell will you sell 1,000 units, right? So no matter how confident you are, no matter how much research you've done, even if you've done everything that we've done here, what you want to do is first just make sure to buy around 20 samples of this product and make sure you can actually sell those 20 samples before buying hundreds or even thousands of units, right? Now, with that, what I do myself and what I teach people how to do from start to finish is teach you how to start selling on Amazon UK for beginners and how to find a profitable product to take you all the way to £10,000 per month selling on Amazon FBA. And I help you to start by finding a really good product just like this to actually start selling on Amazon. Then I help you to find a supplier just like this to actually be able to supply that product for a good price. Someone that is of good communication, someone that's got a good reputation. Then help you create a brand around that idea, list that product on Amazon, make that listing look really nice, then advertise your product and scale you all the way to £10,000 per month selling on Amazon, right? That business model is called Amazon Private Label. Now, there are some people who say that this doesn't work and it's old, but the market continues to grow every single year, right? While more sellers do join, 99% of them fail because most of them sell the exact same kind of obvious products, right? I'm talking about things like iPhone charging cables, smartphone cases, yoga mats, water bottles, reed diffusers, selfie sticks. The sorts of thing everyone thinks of at first. You want to think a bit further outside the box than that, right? This has been amazingly successful for myself and my students because we look for unique ideas that most people are simply overlooking, right? That is where the money is. And the best bit is, if you set things up correctly to start with, it's very passive to maintain. It's like your very own personal money machine. So if you do want to learn some free tips that I've learned over the last 10 years and selling millions of pounds worth of products on Amazon, just click the link below for those free tips right now, right? And those are completely free. You can use those to make money and they are completely free. So you have absolutely no reason not to do that, right? So if you do have any questions at all or get stuck with anything or something doesn't make sense about this process, just simply reply to those notes that I email you and I'll be able to get back to you and help you with whatever you need. The exact same thing goes for those free tips as well, right? So click that link below and get my free notes on this process and my free tips as well. Reply to either of those emails if you have any questions at all, and I'll be happy to clarify your understanding of anything at all, right? So that is everything for today's, guys. That is pretty much step-by-step guide on using Helium 10 to find a product to start selling on Amazon UK and then how to find that product on Alibaba. Of course, there is a lot more to it than that. And as I promised, there'll be a lot more videos to come to help break that down for you, to understand more easily in detail how to do this. So if you did like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video so you don't miss out on those free guides. So you don't just learn to save more money getting started selling on Amazon, but you also learn to make more money selling on Amazon too, right? If you do have any comments, suggestions, or questions, please drop them below. I will be replying to all of those too. I hope this has been useful for you guys. Reply to my notes or guides if you do get stuck. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Happy selling, and I'll see you in the jungle.